Hello, my name is Ms. Epps, and today's video lesson is going to be about a story entitled, What Happened to My Paycheck? What Happened to My Paycheck? That is the name of our story for today. Okay, and if we look at the cover, the book cover, we see that we have a young lady here, and we have a thought bubble here. So she's doing some thinking, okay? So before we begin our lesson, let's talk about our lesson objective. So let's go to that page. And if you look right here, you'll see here's the title of our story, and we need to put a question mark right there. What happened to my paycheck? And we have a lesson objective, okay? So you see where my cursor is? It says, I will answer comprehension questions about a story. So today, you're going to listen to me read a story to you, and you're going to be answering comprehension questions. So you want to pay very close attention to what's being said during the story, because you are going to be answering some questions at the end of the story. Okay, if you look down here, you'll see that you need paper, pencil, and a copy of today's story. And that will be included in a link. It'll say lessons. It'll tell you the particular lesson that we're working on, and I'll have a copy of the story. Okay, I'm gonna make sure I have that for you. All right. So if you want to print the story down and follow along, that will be available for you. Okay. All right. So if we take a look at our book cover here. So now tell me now, what is the title of our story? All right, so did you see where my arrow is right here? What happened to my paycheck? That is the title of our story, right? Now tell me, what do you think this story is going to be about? Did you say it's going to be about maybe a person who may be working and they have earned a paycheck and they have some questions about their paycheck? If you said any of those types of answers, then you're probably on the right track, but we're still going to need to read the story to find out what it's all about. Now, do you think this is a fiction book or a nonfiction book? Now, okay, so let's review what fiction is. So if we have a fiction book is an imaginary story. It's a made-up story. And most of the illustrations, most of the pictures in the story are illustrations. So we can look here. Let's just go through it just for a second. So we see this is an illustration. Okay, so more than likely, this is a fiction story, because nonfiction stories have photos in it. And this is not a photo, right? This is probably going to be a fiction story. Okay. All right. So let's get started. Okay. Let's get started reading our story. Now, one of the things that you're going to see is you're going to see me scroll the story up and down. Okay. So just look out for that. It's going to move up and down. So let's go to our very first page. And we see here that we have a calculator. It's right here. And we see some figures over here. So let's get started reading, okay? All right, today is payday, okay? Keyshia is excited. This will be her first paycheck. She has done the math. She has worked 6 days for 4 hours each day. That is 24 hours. Keyshia earns $10 an hour. Keyshia's paycheck should be $240. Okay? So now here is our focus question right down here. Our focus statement is right down here. Okay? And it says here, discuss how to do the math to figure out the amount of her paycheck. So how did she figure that out? So she realized right here, you see where my pointer is? She realized that she had worked 6 days. Okay? And she said there are 24 hours in a day. Okay? Now, and then she worked 4 hours. Okay? And then she earned $10 an hour. So if we go back up here, we notice that she used her calculator, right? And she did some multiplication to figure out how much her paycheck should be. And she came up with a total of $240, okay? So if you said anything like that, you were correct. And this let's just see that there's Keyshia right here. Here's Keyshia. Here's a picture of Keyshia. I just want you to get a chance to see what she looked like. Okay, let's go to our next page. Now Keyshia would save $200 for her goal to move into an apartment. She will keep $40 to use as spending money. She will buy some new clothes or do something fun with her friends. But when Keyshia gets her paycheck, it is less than $240. It is only $190.61. Keyshia shows her mother and asks, "What happened to my paycheck?" Her mother explains, "When you get a job, you actually give some of your income to the government. These are deductions taken from your paycheck. These deductions are made before you even get your paycheck. The money goes to pay for taxes and benefits. Tax is an amount of money people pay to the government to get things done. There are federal, state, and local taxes. Okay? So now what is a deduction? Think about it for a second. Did you say deductions are taken from your paycheck? It's actually a part of your income that's deducted or taken from your paycheck. And it's right in here. And be mindful that when you're answering your questions, look for those keywords, because the keywords will tell you um, what to look, where to find the answer. See this keyword right here, see where my arrow is? This is deduction. So I would look up here to find the section that talks about deduction to determine what a deduction was, okay? All right, let's keep reading. So we see here, here's a picture of Keyshia's check. Let me move it down. Here's a picture of Keyshia's check right here, okay? Now Keyshia and her mother look at the pay stub attached to her paycheck. It shows the number of hours she worked and how much she made. There are other numbers too. It lists FICA, federal tax, state tax, and Medicare. These are deductions from her paycheck. All right, so if we look here, we see here, it says explain what each of the deductions stand for. So this is your federal tax, it's your government tax, okay? And then we have state tax. Now we live in what state? We live in the state of Virginia, okay? And then you have your Medicare right here, which is your, a deduction comes out for your health benefits, okay? When you become an elderly person, such as your grandmother or grandfather, those persons are more than likely they are receiving Medicare at this time or some form of Medicare, okay? All right. So now, so these are the, and this is another deduction too as well. All right. So these are the things that are going to come out of your check, okay? They come out of my check too when I get paid. So it's not just Keyshia. All right. All right. Who's asking that question? What happened to my paycheck? All right. So let's take a look right here. So if we look here, we see we have some pictures of illustration of what this particular part of your story is going to be about. We see here we have a soldier, and then we have a police officer, we have roads here, and we also have a government building, okay? So it says here, Keyshia's mother explains that the government uses tax money to pay for many things. So that tax money that comes out of your checks is used to pay for many things, all right? Some of these things include, let's see what they include: military, government jobs, healthcare, roads, police, and fire departments, and schools, okay? And so it says discuss other uses of the tax money. So we see here where all that tax money is going to. Did you say military? You may have said, well, oh, I remember, that some of the tax money is used for healthcare. Some of it's used for schools. And guess what? Do you know, if you've ever been to a national park, like I think it's called Yosemite Park. That's a national park out there. It's way out on the west coast, and it is a park that's maintained by the federal government. Well, see, our tax money goes toward that particular park because we can go to that park. We don't have to. We don't. You may have to pay an interest fee or something like that. But as far as the maintenance of that park, you can go. The federal government takes care of the maintenance of that park through the use of our tax money. So just be mindful that some of your national parks, that's where your tax money is going to. And then some of our parks, well, all of our parks are beautiful. Okay? All right. I thought I would just mention that. Okay, so here we have FICA and Medicare are different types of taxes. Okay? So FICA is a Social Security tax. Okay? We pay money into FICA the entire time we work. Okay, so this FICA or your Social Security tax is money that you would get when you retire, when you become elderly, like your grandmother and grandpa, and they're elderly now, so they're getting some Social Security money back to be able to help them uh, pay their bills when they are elderly people, and that's what this is all about. Okay. So we get some of this money back when we retire. I just said that. Okay, this is called Social Security. Okay. Now, Medicare is a tax we pay to help people 65 or older who are sick. Okay. It helps to pay for their doctor's bills and medicine. Okay. Explains Keyshia's mother. Okay. All right. Now we need to talk about why only people who are older get Social Security and Medicare. So let's think about it. Let's think about that for a second. So now when you become an elderly person, okay, and you are no longer working, your paycheck that you used to get is going to be cut almost literally in half. So you're going to need some additional money to help you be able to pay your bills and live comfortably when you become an older person. So that is why you need that Social Security. See where my cursor is running right down at the bottom? You need that Social Security when you get older. You need Medicare because at that point, at that time, you might not be suffering from a particular illness, but you're going to still need to go to the doctor to get your regular physicals and checkups and make sure that you're still healthy. So this is where your Medicare is going to come in. So Social Security is something that you would need when you retire so that you can get a paycheck when you retire. And then this is your health care. Medicare is a form of health care insurance that you would get when you retire, when you're no longer working. Okay? All right, let's move on. So here's Keyshia. You see, she has that thought bubble again. She says, I don't like that some of my income is being taken by the government. Okay? But my taxes help pay for things like schools, roads, and police, right? And those things, and those are things that we need, says Keyshia. That's right, Keyshia. Now let's get that check to the bank so you can start saving for the future, says Keyshia's mother. So if you take a look here, Keyshia realizes that okay, she doesn't want the government to take all that money from her, but she realizes that it is needed. Okay, and sometimes that's what we have to understand, that it is needed and that our money is needed to help out. Okay. So we have a focus question right here at the bottom. You see where my arrow is? It says, why is it important to pay for roads, schools, and government officials? So now think about that. Let's think about our schools because right now we're not in school right now. So let's just imagine if there was no money to take care of our schools. Okay. Um, for instance, when you walk into the building and you notice that the lights are turned off. Now, can we learn in the dark? Well, we cannot learn in the dark. So if there is no tax money, you see here, if there's no tax money to help keep the lights on in the school, that's going to hinder us from being able to learn, okay, efficiently. So yes, that's why it's important to pay your taxes, okay, so that we can have access to roads that are not damaged, okay, and we have to be able to pay our government officials like our governor, okay, our president. All of that's paid out of our tax money, okay. All right, let's move on. So now Keyshia and her mother drive to the bank to open a savings account. She will put most of her paycheck into the savings account, okay. She is excited to be earning her own income and working toward her goal at having an apartment after she graduates from high school. Okay. So what does Keyshia do with her paycheck? Did you say she opens a savings account? Okay. Yes, she opens a savings account. And then did you say she puts most of that of her paycheck into the savings account? Because what is she working toward? She's working toward that goal of having her own what? Apartment. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do, I'll save our topic words for last because that can be an extra activity you can do later. We'll come back to that. So what we're going to move on to now is we're going to start answering questions about our story, okay? And our first question says here, what is this chapter about? What is this chapter about? A, taxes, B, roads, or C, water? Make a choice. And you can point to the screen or you can write it on your piece of paper. I think I talked about that mature, so you can write your answer choice down on your piece of paper if you like. Okay. All right. So now we need to go back to our story because we have to determine what this chapter is all about. All right. So let's go back over here to our story. And we see here, we have Keyshia's right here, right? Here's Keyshia. And what happened? She got paid from her job, but she noticed that her check was less. Do you see this $109.61? She said, that shouldn't be the amount of money I'm going to get, right? So then as her mother explained to her, her mother explained that there are deductions taken from your check. This money goes to pay what? Taxes. So there it is right there. Taxes. Okay, so this whole story was about what? Taxes. All right. Okay, so there's our choices right here. So you should have circled taxes, okay? What does a paycheck show? What does a paycheck show? A, work done, B, money earned, or C, clothes washed. Make a choice. So notice we're looking for what does our paycheck show, okay? So that's the part of the story that we need to go to. What does our paycheck show, okay? So let's do that. And what does our paycheck show? Watch my arrow. There it is. It shows the number of hours she worked, how much she made, right? Or what her income was, okay? All right, it shows how much money she earned, right? So let's go back over here. And there's our answer right there. Let's circle it. It shows the money earned, okay? All right, what do taxes pay for? What do taxes pay for? A, chairs, B, schools, or C, dishwasher. Make a choice. So we have to determine what our taxes pay for. So we have to go to that part of the story that talks about what the taxes pay for, right? Okay, so let's do that. And what do our taxes pay for? Here we go, right here. It pays for many things, right? Military, government jobs, healthcare, roads, police and fire departments, and what? Schools, okay? So let's see what our choices are. What do our taxes pay for? Did you say schools? If you did, you were correct. All right. All right, it says here, when do we all pay a tax? When do we all pay a tax? A, while working, B, while playing, or C, while watching TV. Make a choice. So we have to look for when we pay that tax, right? Okay, so we have to go to that part of the story that talks about that. All right, let's see. So when do we pay that tax? Here it is right here. We pay that money into FICA for the entire time that we're working. So while we're working, we're going to pay that money for the entire time that we work, okay? So what is our choice? While we're working. So let's circle that. All right. I like the way you're working hard. Okay, what is important to know about this chapter? What is important to know about this chapter? A, only parents have to pay taxes. B, Keyshia will buy a new phone. Or C, Keyshia is working toward a goal. So now on this particular question, we're going to use a strategy called a process of elimination, okay? And if we see here, if we look at our choices, only parents have to pay taxes. Now, was that true? We know everyone has to pay taxes, so we automatically know we're not going to use this one, okay? Keyshia will buy a new phone. Now, did our story say anything about buying a new phone? No, it did not. So we know we're not going to select A or B. Now let's look at C. It says Keyshia is working toward a goal. Now, didn't our story talk about Keyshia working toward a goal? Yes, it did. And what was that goal? Did you say she wanted to get an apartment? If you did, you were correct. Let me circle that a little bit better for you, okay? If you did, you were exactly right, okay? Very good. All right, let's keep working hard. Now it says, what type of taxes are there? What type of taxes are there? Now, if you notice here, it says these questions may have more than one correct answer. So you want to be mindful of that, okay? What type of taxes are there? All right, so we have A, federal, B, state, or C, family. Okay, so we're going to go to the part of the story that talks about what type of taxes there are. So you make your choice. Now let's do that. Now let's see what kind of taxes we have, okay? All right, so we see here that there are what? Federal, state, and local tax, okay? Federal, state. See where my arrow is? Federal, state, and local tax. So let's go back over here. So we would have selected, let's get our little pen, federal, oops, I'm sorry, and state tax. Okay, we would have gotten both of those, federal and state tax. Those are types of taxes that we have. Okay, where can Keyshia find the number of hours she worked? Where can Keyshia find the number of hours she worked? A, newspaper, B, calendar, or C, pay stub. Make a choice. So we're looking for where she can find the number of hours she worked, okay? We have to go to that part of the story that talks about number of hours. Okay. All right. Let's do that. All right. So if we can see here, Keyshia and her mother look at her what? Her pay stub. This is her pay stub. You see where my arrow is? There it is. Pay stub. Okay. So that's going to be our answer choice. Pay stub. Okay. All right, let's move on down to number 8. It says, what does the government use tax money to pay for? What does the government use tax money to pay for? So we're going to look in the part of the story that talks about what? The use of tax money, right? That's what we're looking for, okay? So let's look at our choices. A, military, B, roads, or C, police. Okay? All right. Let's go to our story. All right, here we go. So we see here, here's our tax money, uses of tax money. It's all here for us. And we see all the things that our tax money is used for: military, government jobs, healthcare, roads, police and fire department, and schools. Okay? So we know in this case, we're going to select all of them because they're all being used, right? So you probably checked all of those for that one. Very good. And if Miss Epps forgets to ask you to make a choice, you know you need to go ahead and make a choice, right? All right. Okay. So here we are to number 9. How does Keyshia feel about taxes? Does Keyshia feel about taxes? Okay, A, Keyshia doesn't care about taxes. B, Keyshia does not like that her money is taken. Or C, Keyshia is glad her taxes pay for things we use. How does she feel about taxes? Make a choice. Okay, so now we need to go to that part of the story that talks about how she feels, right? Okay, so let's do that. And we see right here, it says, what does she say? I don't like that some of my income is being taken by the government. So we see it. See where my cursor is running on my arrow? She doesn't like it, right? Okay, let's go back over here and make a choice, okay? And we know that Keyshia does not like that her money is being taken, okay? All right, number 10 says, what will Keyshia do with her paycheck? What will Keyshia do with her paycheck? A, Keyshia would save her money for an apartment. B, Keyshia would give it to her sister. Or C, Keyshia will put most of it in a savings account. Make a choice or choices. So we have to go to the part of the story that talks about what she's going to do with that paycheck. Okay, you see where my arrow is pointing to? Okay, so let's do that, okay? So what did Keyshia do with it? It says it right here. It says Keyshia and her mother drove to the bank to open a what? A savings account. She put most of her paycheck into a savings account, okay? Because she was working toward what? Earning enough money to have her own what? Apartment. Okay, so let's look. So we can see here that she is saving her money for what? An apartment. So we can check this one. So let's get our pen. And she was going to put that money in a savings account. All right, excellent job, guys. I like the way you worked hard doing that story. So what I want to do, I want to take you to this page very quickly. These were all words that were in your story, and I want you to take the time, if you can, to look in your story and see if you can find words like the word work and interview, paycheck, attitude, job coach. If you see any of those words, circle them if you do. If you see any of those words in the story, circle them. I know we had paycheck in there, and I know we talked about working, but if you see it in the other words, just take a time to circle those words, okay? Okay, so guess what? We have come to the end of our lesson, and I've enjoyed being with you today. I hope that you learned a lot about what happens to your paycheck, okay? But you know it's for a good use, okay? What that money that comes out of your check is going to be used to help you when you retire, okay? And and you're no longer able to make the amount of money that you used to make when you were working full time, okay? All right. I want you to stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you again in the next video lesson.